What up? Why are you not saying anything?
I don't know because I didn't hit the horns.
Oh.
What up, everybody? What's up to our 15 viewers? We thank you for being on time. We're on time this week.
Woo!
As you know, every week we've been kind of slacking with that, but this week we committed to being starting on time, and we're gonna finish on time today as well. Carlene, how you doing?
Um, I'm here. I'm here. This was a week, definitely a week that went down in the books, but I'm just glad that it's a Sabbath and have an opportunity to really rest, like really chill and relax. So that's felt really good today doing that. Um,
That's right, Caroline. What's up, Caroline?
She's a lights and feelings.
That's right. No worry, we're gonna give you more horns throughout this show. It's gonna be lit. We have an interesting topic. Last week, what did we do last week?
So last week was a question and answering where we kind of answered some questions that we had, and that was cool doing that. And so today we wanted to talk about parenting. And so after Jamie and I got married, before we got married, we during our counseling sessions, we talked about the fact that we wanted kids, and we felt that prior to getting married, we felt that 2 years after getting married would be a good time to start planning for a baby. Um, so
2 or 3?
Two. We said two. I remember it was two. So um, So after getting married, because we got married when we were 28, and we didn't want to have kids too late in the game. You know what I mean? Like we wanted to have kids. Um, we wanted to have kids not too late, but not too soon. But we didn't want to be old with little people at all, as well. So,
but I think you need to tell them why we said we wanted to wait. Why did we want to wait?
Oh, that's important. So you want me to say it, or you want to say it?
You can say it.
Okay, so the reason why we wanted to wait was we wanted those 2 years to really um, get used to being married to one another. We wanted to kind of have fun as a married couple without kids.
Hey, you know what fun mean, right, family? Give me some horns for that. Let's go.
Fun as in to go on vacations, or what kind of fun are you talking about?
The kind of fun that married people have. Now, I was actually talking about baking cookies and baking bread. That's what I wanted time to do. So I don't know where your mind is today or where you're going, but that's what I was talking about in regards to fun.
We all know that he was not talking about cookies and baking bread. But anyway,
pizza, making pizza, those kinds of things. What's up, Carol? We got Carol and we got Carolyn in the house. Jeremiah, my butt, Jeremiah, I'm representing, see that?
Jeremiah, fun as in we all know, right? Fun. But anyway, so that's what we just.
Oatmeal raisin cookies.
Cookies, really? Cookies?
Mm-hmm.
I can't with you today. So anyway, so we wanted to get to know each other a little bit more before adding the element of kids into the mix. What we heard prior was that kids really change your lives. They change the dynamics of your marriage, and that's something that we didn't want at the very beginning of our marriage.
That's right. We wanted to get to know each other because we only knew each other dating and courting, so we wanted to get to know each other. I wanted to know how she bakes cookies.
Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh! Are you done?
I'm just saying. That's what I'm telling the people.
You wanted to know how I made cookies?
Yes, I wanted to know how your cookies taste.
Wow.
That's all I want to know.
Come get your boy, because he's off the chain. He is off the chain. But
that's right, Nikolai. Kids make you lose sleep.
Yeah, so they change your lives forever, pretty much. So we went ahead and I definitely went on birth control, and that was the method that we chose. And yeah, so we kind of got to know each other, enjoyed that time. One of the things that we wanted to do was travel, and we didn't get to do as much as we wanted, but it is what it is. We also wanted to save money as well. We wanted to stack our bank account just so that it can be in case of the just in case, right? And so after those 2 years, I think we celebrated our second year anniversary on May 11th. And on May 11th, we decided to start the process of conceiving.
Wow, I didn't remember that, but yes, that's what we did.
Yes, and so on May 11th, on our second year anniversary, that's when I stopped using birth control and basically we got to work. And so
put that work in.
It wasn't really work. I don't know why people say that, but I guess it can kind of sometimes be work in terms of like, I don't know. Maybe leave that for another conversation. But so decided on May 11th to have a start trying, and July something, I think it was after my birthday, we found out that we were pregnant with our first child. Of course, we were elated, we were super excited, and we could not wait to see our little bundle of joy. Prior to that, during counseling, Jamie and I had talked about what does parenting look like. Yo, for all of you that are dating, for all of you that are potentially looking for someone, do not leave out that element of parenting, because that thing can make you or break you. Yeah. You don't see it first, of course, when you are in that very first time where it's happy-go-lucky, and you don't see past the, oh my gosh, what would this person be like as a potential father or a potential mother?
Yeah, and then also too, like, you have that conversation about whether or not you want to have kids. You need to have that conversation if you're about to get married, or if you're walking out, so you need to have that conversation. And then also too, why the conversation about kids is important, because real talk, anything can happen. Y'all get to playing some Jodeci, some H-Town, or whatever y'all be listening to, Barry Manilow, Barry White, whichever Barry, and things can happen, and then boom, 9 months later, all of that. So you definitely need to have that conversation about parenting, because that is super intricate.
Yeah. So conversations like, so growing up, what was your childhood like? What are some of the things that you would take away from your childhood and bring it into our space, to our home? Conversations like, what is your form of discipline? What are you comfortable or most comfortable with?
Do you whoop your kids? Are you old school? Do you look for a switch? Go tell them go get a switch from outside. Now, if you live in the city, ain't no switches out there.
Ain't no switch in Brooklyn, New York. But anyway, maybe that they changing it now with planting trees. But but I definitely think that conversation is as crucial as just about any conversation, especially if you're in that position of that you guys are getting ready to get married.
Right.
Because even though we had that conversation, there were still a lot of surprises. I was just like, you do that? Why do you do that? What are you doing? Why are you It was just like, what is going on? So kind of establishing those expectations as well. When we found out that we were about to have a child, that expectation was a conversation that we had. What are our expectations? And so 9 months later, I would say a pretty good pregnancy. In the beginning, It was a little hard, but I had a pretty good pregnancy. Thank God, healthy baby girl. Caitlin was born. I had a C-section. She was an emergency C-section. I didn't get to see Caitlin for 24 hours because I was running a temperature. I was running a temperature, and so I had to not be with her for 24 hours. Yeah. The worst thing ever.
So that's why you had the C-section, because your temperature went up, and the doctors didn't want to take the doctor. Now, mind you, our doctor that delivered Caitlin had his arm in a sling.
Right.
So he was doing the whole thing with one arm in a sling.
Right.
So he was like, you know what? We're not going to risk it. Go straight to the OR. They put me in the bunny suit, and we had the C-section.
Mm-hmm. And so came home with Caitlin, and of course, you kind of think of when you're bringing a child home, the excitement of a new thing, a new person, a new life, right? It's exciting. But there were some challenging times that we had in terms of like, I nursed a little bit. So walking through there was some moments, y'all, that I used to sit there and stare at him and actually wanted to like nudge him, like wake up, like what are you doing?
So let me tell you something. So I think we're not at Amber yet, but there's a dynamic that was like interesting with Caitlin, and I don't know if you want to go into talking about nursing and breastfeeding, because Caitlin. How long was Caitlin breastfed?
Probably 3 months.
Probably like 3 months, but for most times it was a bottle. So, you know, when Amber was born, Amber was completely breastfed. Y'all, I was in heaven because I ain't had to wake up. I ain't had to make no formula. All I had to do was just turn over. Here's a baby. Breastfeed. The most natural and beautiful gift that God has given to humanity. Breast milk. And so Amber had that. But Caitlin was on a next level because, man, there was some nights I was like, girl, if you don't stop crying, things like that.
So, going through, as a parent, going through those beginning stages of when the baby is, you just brought the baby home. You're kind of trying to adjust to what marriage looks like with now this person now in our space, and she's consuming just about everything, like everything. Yeah. And so my attention, of course, is like on the child, on trying to focus on this human being and trying to be the best mom that I could possibly be.
And I think that 3-year cushion helped us mature too.
It did.
Right?
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Well, 3, 2.5.
Right. Mm-hmm. Potato.
Okay. It's
so I think that really helped us in maturing and kind of mentally preparing ourselves for this new addition to our family. And like you said, like children consume all of your time. And that's like, and I know we did, I mean, I can go there, right? Like children consumed, maybe this will be for our post-children conversation, like where they are now. But that we stopped seeing each other. Mm. Like we stopped, actually acknowledging each other because everything was about acknowledging the child that's there. So, yeah, we still kept birthdays. Yeah, we still all did that stuff, but we didn't have time to actually see each other and remember each other and, love on each other because you're so focused on the children. Particularly, too, we had them back to back. But I think that's going to be another episode because we need to talk about when we discovered that, because we didn't discover that
until after, years later.
Years later. So maybe like around 2014, no, 2018. 2018. And Caitlin was born in 2011, Amber was born in 2012. So that's another episode that we have to talk about.
So I've been reading this book. Well, I read this book called Untamed by Susan Doyle. An amazing book so far. I mean, it's an amazing book, period. But she had this chapter called Memos. And I'm going to read it to you guys because I think that this really encompasses exactly the thought of having children in the year of our Lord 2020, or in the what is this, the 21st century?
Yeah, 21st century.
So
2020.
Right. So this is what she says. Every generation of parent receives a memo when they leave the hospital with their baby. My grandmother's memo. Here's the baby. Take it home and let it grow. Let it speak when spoken to. Carry on with your lives. This is our mother's memo. Here's your baby. Take her home and then get together each day with your friends who also have these. And she says some other things that as Christians, maybe some of us have experienced, but as maybe you have. So she says, drink tab before 4 o'clock and wine coolers after. Smoke cigarettes and play cards. Of course, we don't smoke cigarettes, but there are some mothers out there who do.
We don't smoke cigarettes. I don't know about you.
It's true. Lock the kids out of the house and let them in only to eat and sleep. Our memo. Here's your baby. This is the moment you have been waiting for your entire life. When the hole in your heart is filled and you finally become complete. When the hole in your heart is filled and you finally become complete. If after I put this child in your arms, you sense anything other than utter fulfillment, seek counseling immediately. After you hung up with the counselor, call a tutor. Since we have been speaking for 3 minutes, your child is already behind. You have registered, have you registered her for Mandarin classes as yet? I see. Poor child. Listen closely. Parent is no longer a noun. Those days are gone. Parent is now a verb, something you do ceaselessly. Think of the verb parent as synonymous with protect, shield, hover, deflect, plan, fix, and obsess. Parenting will require all of you. Please parent with your mind, body, and soul. Parenting is your new religion within which you find salvation. This child is your savior. Convert or be explicit. We will wait while you cancel all other life endeavors. Thank you. Now, the goal of parenting is never allow anything difficult to happen to your child. To that end, she must win every competition she enters, right? She must feel that everyone likes and loves her and wants to be with her at all times. She must be constantly entertained and amused. Every one of her days on earth must be like Disneyland, but better. If other kids don't want to play with her, call those kids' parents. Find out why and insist they fix it. In public, walk in front of your child and shield her from any unhappy faces that might make her sad, and any happy faces that might make her feel left out. When she gets into trouble at school, call her teacher and explain loudly that your child does not make mistakes. Insist that the teacher apologize for the mistake. Do not ever let a drop of rain fall upon your child's fragile head. Raise this human without ever allowing her to feel a single uncomfortable human emotion. Give her a life without allowing life to happen to her. In short, your life is over and your new existence is about ensuring that her life never begins. Godspeed. We got a terrible memo, right? Our terrible memo is why we feel exhausted, neurotic, and guilty. Our terrible memo is also why our kids suck. They do. They just suck. Because people who do not suck are people who have failed, dusted themselves off, and tried again. People who do not suck are people who have been hurt, so they have empathy for others who are hurt. People who do not suck are those who have learned from their own mistakes by dealing with the consequences. People who do not suck are people who have learned how to win with humility and how to lose with dignity. Our memo has led us to steal from our children the one thing that will allow them to become strong people: struggle. Our terrible memo is also why we stay busy with the trivial while the world our children will inherit crumbles. We obsess over our children's snacks while they rehearse their own deaths in active shooter drills at school. We agonize over their college prep while the earth melts around them. I cannot imagine that there has been more overparented and overprotected generation. New memo. Here's your baby. Love her at home, at the polls, in the streets. Let everything happen to her. Be near. Listen, when I read that, I was like, that's me. I overparent. That's how I parent. And I don't know where this memo has come from, where it says that as parents, we have to not let our kids struggle or feel, right? We have to feel for them. And then after we felt for them, then we give them an opportunity to go through this filtered feeling. Oh my gosh. So, parenting in 2020.
The digital age, civil unrest, economic frailty, Trumpism, Adventism, and all the isms. How do you parent in all of these things that are going on? How are we doing it? What are y'all doing? Let's hear y'all in the comments. But go ahead. Let them struggle.
How are we doing it? We're letting them struggle. When they were first born, we didn't have this. I didn't know this, right? I felt like I had to protect them. So I'm the helicopter mom. I'm the one that does not let my kids out of my sight because I'm afraid that something may happen to them, right? I'm afraid for them to feel. As much as I don't trust, I'm not a trusting person off the bat. So to let or release my kids out into the world for other people to experience is something that's super scary for me.
You from New York?
I am.
East New York?
Yeah. It is super scary for me. So I didn't know how to make Caitlin and Amber struggle. I felt like I had to, of course, make sure that their needs are met, but do a little bit more than that. Not until recently, I would say maybe when they turned what, Jamie?
I don't know.
Maybe when Caitlin was about 5 and Amber about 4. That's when I think things changed a little bit in terms of parenting. What would you say? Or do you think it's actually like recently?
I think it's recently. I think you're still the same.
Wow. What does that mean?
I think you're still very protective, helicopter mom, very, like, hey. And if you're not, I think they have been, I think they have been, I don't know, I hate word trained or raised that way. So they still know that, mommy isn't this, mommy isn't that. Maybe more so daddy is cool with it, but more mommy is. So I don't think you've actually changed, but I think you're more like, I think you're probably a little bit more freer now with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I'm a little bit more open to the free to allow them to be free. Yeah, and
well, free as in, so let's define free, right? Let's not free as in you can go to anybody's house, you can talk to anybody. I think you're free in the sense of letting them express themselves the way they want to now. So,
right.
We let Amber sometimes we let Amber dress herself. Now, Amber is our creative artistic daughter, and Amber will put on plaid with polka dots, with stripes, uh, socks with flip flops, and be like, "I'm ready to go." And being who we are, we want to be like, "No, you're not." But we don't want to stifle her creativity at a young age, so that she grows up and says, there's something wrong with me being creative or expressing myself. It's like what I had learned in that class. It's like everybody is an artist until you're told not to be one. Mm-hmm. So you're born an artist. You if you match clothes, right? You are an artist. But the older we get, the more we're discouraged to be an artist because the narrative that comes with being an artist is you're struggling, right? And so it's crazy. So people would say, why do you want to be an artist? And then they'll go listen to music or turn on the TV, right? They're watching artists do their craft. So I think you're much more free in that sense.
Yeah, I'm free in that sense. And I don't feel bad about being that helicopter mom or being that mom that kind of hovers over our girls, because I just feel like this world is what this world is and I can't change that. And if I could change it, I would. But I know I can't. All I have control over is what I'm able to do. So not having them sleep over at people's homes is just something that we don't do, because we just don't do that. Let's be real. I'm keeping it real. Like I'm not keeping it real.
Keep it 100.
Let's keep it real. Like, there are some people that we know personally and stories we've heard where they've been they went to a church member's home or to a family member's home that they slept over, and they were molested, you know.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, it's like this. It's like I'm cool with you, but I don't know who you cool with, right? So while my kids are at your house, I don't know who's coming over to your house when I'm not there. So that's why we're very protective of our girls, and sleeping out is not an option. Now, we've floated the idea of people sleeping, their friends sleeping over here. But I get it. If a parent says, no, I'm not comfortable with that, I respect that. I'm not gonna feel no type of way.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't want to feed your kids anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I only got enough food for me and my house.
No,
So,
he's not serious, but he's not serious. But I do think I don't as a parent, I do not feel bad about, because at the end of the day, I think as Golda said, we only have one chance. There aren't any do-overs when it comes to parenting. And so when you realize that there are no do-overs, you do as much as you can to make sure that you try your best to create that balance. And I know for me, beginning when I first had Caitlin and Amber, especially Caitlin, like it was lock arms. Like I can literally count on my fingers how many people I would allow or trust for to be entrusted into my girls' care, because I'm just like, for me, the thought is always, what if, right? What if I did this, and those sexual molestations or even mental abuse is something that even as adults, some people are still struggling with. And so if I can do as much as I can do to protect them from that, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it without apology. But I do think it's a balance. I saw Jeremiah, I saw Goldust mentioning that there has to be a balance when you're parenting in this age. A balance of, yes, I need to hover, I need to make sure that you are protected, but at the same time, I need to allow you to struggle, or understand what struggle is, and also to feel, right? Feel the emotions of whatever. And we don't always have to protect you from that feeling or feelings,
yeah.
but that giving them the opportunity to feel what they need to feel.
Yeah, and the other saying is, don't do for your children what they can do for themselves. And so that was something I had to learn, because I'm daddy. I want to save the day. Even with, like, in this era of virtual school, I have to fight the urge to to be like, when my daughter's taking a quiz, are you sure you want to put that answer, and trying to help her do stuff, because you know I have to really balance that. Like, don't do for them what they can do for themselves. So if they can tie their shoelace, let them tie their shoelace. If they can, make themselves a sandwich, let them make that sandwich for themselves. Let them learn and understand what a struggle is, because in this digital age, information comes so easy. Y'all remember when we were kids?
Encyclopedias.
Where we had to Britannica. If your friend or somebody on your street had what was it? Britannica. The Britannica was the legit encyclopedia. You had to go do that. You had to go to their house, or you had to go to the library, card catalog, go all the way upstairs, look it through a book and stuff like that. So things have changed. They have easy access to, to whatever at the world at their fingertips. And so we're really trying to balance that, of how do we manage devices, how do we use them for our advantage, but how do we still, teach them what it's like to actually read a book.
Yeah. So we're going there already, or
I don't know. My bad. I'm me. I'm all over. I just want to get to my freestyle.
Okay.
Horns, y'all.
It's not. No, we don't want horns right now.
They haven't had the horns in a while.
Okay.
Horns.
All right. So, parenting is essentially a balance. It's a balance of the struggle, the hovering, as well as the balance in the marriage category, like how to because kids can sometimes be invaders of your marriage. And for us, I remember when we first became parents, we would go on a date night, and guess what we would talk about? Our girls, our kids, and it's almost like we could not shake the I can no longer I no longer have to wear this parent hat. Now it's time for me to put on the wife hat, right? All wife hat. It was so hard for me to do because it just felt like I was eating, breathing, sleeping children. And so I think it's important to find that balance and not for we waited it our realization of the wedge that the kids brought between us was, I won't say it's late in the game, but I wish we caught it a little bit sooner, because essentially we're just like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, we can't have anything. Our focus right now are the children. Like, we had our chance in this world. Now it's their turn, and so we need to come together for the benefit of the kids. And I'll never forget how I think I've heard stories of how like after empty nesters, after the kids would have left for college, that the parents are now strangers, a husband and wife. They're now strangers because they're just like, I don't know you anymore, because it was just always about the children. So for those that are, if you are planning to have children, if you are at the very early stage of, you just probably just had a baby, an infant, a toddler, please, please take that time to be able to separate being a parent and also being a spouse to your significant other.
And maybe this is like the post-parenting part here, but we went on a cruise in what, 2018?
No, is 18?
I feel like it was
or
18.
17.
Maybe 17. And that was like our first vacation away from our girls for about 5 days, right? And that vacation was so refreshing because that was the first time in a long time that I was able to actually see Carlene, be with her, and just not have to worry about thinking about what's happening with the kids. Not say that they were out of sight, out of mind, but we were just able to just, what's the word I'm looking for? To just kind of like restart, or pick up where we left off. That reset button. And like I said, Caitlin was born in 2011. Amber was born in 2012. We were so consumed with raising our children, helicoptering and doing everything for them, and then also balancing work. She's a teacher, I'm a preacher, and life and all those things. It was just, we just kept missing each other. We weren't arguing. We weren't like, combative or anything. We just didn't see each other. And so I think like one piece of advice that I would give to anybody who's listening, husbands and wives, reset. I know it's COVID. Maybe when it's lifted, just get away. The two of you just have time to just see each other, reset, and come back together. Because you need that. You really do need that.
Yes, that's right, Deanna. You definitely become roommates. And the thing about it is that you don't realize that you're becoming roommates, right? It's almost like you're functioning, you're doing, you're moving. The kids are good, you're good, but you're realizing slowly but surely, like,
yeah,
something's missing. I can't put my finger. I don't want to take the time to slow down and press that pause button, because if I press that pause button, the world might collapse. Everything might just fall down on your shoulders and the world might collapse. So you're just like, whoa, nope, can't stop right now, because guess what? Especially in this day and age, things are constantly moving. So it's important to take that time, that pause, and press that reset button, because kids will be okay.
Right.
Children are resilient. They are more resilient than we give them credit for.
Right. And then we get into this mode, we got into this mode of, as long as the kids are okay,
we're okay.
We're okay. As long as the job is okay, we're okay. So we start focusing on the things that are outside around us. That must mean, oh, we're doing a great job. But we weren't okay. You know, like we were losing who we were, our identity, ourselves. And not that it's bad, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to sacrifice for your children, right? You're supposed to give them everything that they need to have. But when you've given so much and you don't have anything left, then what are you going to give?
Yeah, and I think the parenting, it's so complex at times, because when you think of, for as a mom, right? I told you, we planned this. We even planned Amber's birth. Amber came a year and 18 months after Caitlin.
Just 18 months.
What did I say?
You said a year and 18
Sorry,
months.
a year and 8 months.
18 months. Okay, yeah, a year and 8 months.
6 months, a year and 6 months.
Year and 6 months.
My bad.
Yeah.
A year and 6 months. So when Caitlin was 9 months, I became pregnant with Amber. And it was planned, because we were just like, hey, let's strike while the iron is hot. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it was probably crazy to do something like that, but I just felt that we felt that, hey, let's just go ahead and get this other child in. And so we got pregnant. It took a little bit longer to get pregnant with Amber, and that was a struggle. And so,
wasn't nothing wrong with me, fam. I was good.
What does that mean?
Horns.
No horns. No. What does that mean? Let me check you on that. Wait. What does that mean? You're about to get yourself in some.
What?
What does that mean? Because what it sounds like it is that you're saying is that nothing was wrong with you. So are you alluding to the fact that something was wrong with me?
No, nothing is wrong. Nothing wrong with us, fam. We good.
You see? We have to be very careful with that, because then you're deflecting, right? You're saying take that attention because I don't want to seem weak, of course, because as a man, not being able to. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to go off, but you're about to get yourself in trouble.
Horns, push the topic. Here we go. All right, nothing wrong with us. It took longer than expected.
Listen,
nothing wrong with Carlene.
The couch. That's right, Adriana. The couch. He's about to get
Who is the couch? Is that some new rapper?
No, that's you about to be on the sofa out there.
Did the couch make a new album?
No, but you need to. I think you just need to own your statement and remember that if it's not your fault, then you're alluding that it's my fault.
Okay, it was not her fault. The stars just didn't align at the right time.
He's trying, but I'm moving on. Anyway, So Amber came a little bit. It took a little bit of.
I said I'm good. I'm just telling the people I'm good because they're concerned about me. I can see in the comments.
No one's concerned. They're laughing.
I'm okay.
Anyway, this dude. So Amber came, and that was hard, because now I technically have 2 babies, right? Caitlin is a year. And Amber is a newborn. And that first year was almost like, I felt like I was about to lose my mind. But it definitely does pay off after that year, because now they are playmates. They do everything together. So that's beneficial after that year. But that year, my Lord, I think that thing almost broke me. But going back to how, as a parent, when you are a parent, when you're a human being, you're constantly evolving. But as a parent, you're evolving even more. When I was thinking about, when you were talking about whatever it is that you were talking about prior, I thought to myself, I remember as a woman going through, yes, this is something that I prayed for, this is something that I wanted, but at the same time, I was struggling in terms of my identity. Who was Carlene? Is Carlene now only looked at as a mom? You know, I definitely lost my flat stomach. My figure, the clothes that I had in my closet, I could no longer fit into. And I always used to look at pictures of myself and kind of yearn, like literally just yearn for that girl, that body again. Because I'm just like, yo, yes, I'm happy for pregnancy. I'm happy everything is healthy, whatever. Everyone's healthy. But at the same time, as a parent, when you go into it, you don't think of the psychological weight, or I don't want to say burden, but it's a psychological weight of, I am no longer the person I was when I was without children.
I'll love you when your hair turns gray, and I still love you if you gain a little weight, girl.
So you're acknowledging that I gained weight?
Just as long as your love don't change.
So you're acknowledging that. Wait, are you acknowledging? Wait. Are you acknowledging that I gained weight?
I'm acknowledging that as long as your love don't change,
this dude,
I'll still love you, baby.
This dude. But anyway,
horns.
You know, horns. Episode. But anyway, so I don't know what it was like for you though, going through parenting. What was that like for you at the beginning stages?
It was hard. It was difficult because just you're talking about like with Caitlin and Amber, or just Caitlin?
I'm just talking about you as a man. You know, like men go through before marriage is like, oh, my freedom is about to be gone. Now that you have two little people and a wife, like what was that like for you?
It was hard. It was so hard, and I'm not going to like sugarcoat it because I really didn't know. I don't know what it is to be a father. You know, like that word comes with such a big responsibility, and how do I, I have a daughter too, right? So, and not a difference with a boy, but just how do I raise a daughter? How do I keep loving my wife? Am I a good example to Carlene? Will I be a good example to her? I had no idea, and because I didn't even grow up around babies, so I don't have a little brother or a little sister or a little niece or somebody that I was able to take care of. So I had to learn how to change Pampers. And even before all of that, my brain is like going nuts because I had nobody to talk to me about parenting or what parenting looks like. It's just figure this thing out day by day. And even to this day, it's still scary parenting. It's like, so for me, there were a lot of things that I was going through internally that I just didn't share. I'm just like, yo, nobody else is talking to me about it. I got to be about it and just make sure I'm doing what I need to do.
Wow. So yeah, so I don't think there's anything really that can prepare you for parenting. Yes, you can read all the books that there are in the world. Yes, you can talk to people and have them share their experiences with you like we're doing now. But real talk is all trial and error. There is no right, there is no wrong in terms of how you parent. And that's something that I had to learn over the years, that the way that I parent is completely different than how someone else parents, and that's okay. I know a lot of times, I won't say a lot of times, sometimes I compare myself to other parents, how other mothers are mothering, and I'm just like, man, I wish I could be that kind of mother. Or, man, look, she looked like she got it going on. And then I stopped. Every now and again, I have to stop myself and say, yo, the way that I parent is perfect for my daughters. It's perfect for our space. So spending my time comparing myself is no longer an option for me because that's just not my lifestyle. It's not my reality. So snatching myself out of that that mind that thought was something that I had to do constantly, and constantly checking myself and saying, yo, yes, you don't have all the right answers. Yes, it may seem that someone else is doing it better than you are, but at the end of the day, that person is probably saying to herself, I'm not doing a good job. Someone else is doing it better than me. So it's very important as a parent not to compare yourself and also compare your child to other people's children.
Yeah.
Because that can be the death of you and your child or children.
Right. Just because your child is not talking yet, just because your child is not walking yet, all of that stuff. So there was a question that Sister Green asked, and she was saying, did I feel neglected? Pastor, did you feel neglected because you had to share your wife? Yes, absolutely, I did. There were moments when I was jealous of my child. Good jealousy because I couldn't have my wife like how I, when those first 3 years. But it was understood though that the child comes first. The child is, needing her mother's nourishment, her mother's affection, and even mine too. So there were levels of me still maturing in parenting and still not trying to catch a fit or catch an attitude because, we couldn't, what I'm saying, all of that stuff. So, yeah, so there were times where I did feel neglected, did feel ostracized. And then there were also times when Carlene had to go back to work and I would have to stay home with Caitlin and Amber. And that was like, I saw Joshua put out, his kids stressed him out. My kids, when they were that age, they stressed me out because remember, they're 18 months apart. So Caitlin is about 2 years old. Let's say Caitlin is about two. Oh no, let's say Caitlin is a year and a half. Amber is a newborn. I get one down to sleep, the other one wakes up. One starts crying, the other one. And so it's like back and forth, nonstop, managing both of the kids at the same time, feeding Amber, feeding Caitlin. And they're both like, needy and wanting it. And there were times where she would come home and I would just walk straight out the door. I'm like, I got to get up out of here.
He would be out.
I wouldn't even say nothing. I just have my clothes on and be like, I'm out.
Yeah, it's definitely, it was hard on him. And I could see that it was hard. And for me, I wanted to switch places with him. I'm like, I want to stay home. I want to be the one that is basically with them at all the time. But it was just something that we could not do at the time. But he talked about jealousy. I was jealous too of him. Like Golda said, like I was so jealous of him because I'm just like, it feels like he has the freedom. Nothing changed for him, right? His body looks the same. He has the freedom of leaving and going whenever he wants to. What does that mean?
My body looks the same.
You shouldn't do that because it seems as though you're kind of happy that your body looked the same and mine didn't.
I still love you no matter what, just as long as your love don't change. No love.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I think that we, as women, we too go through the jealous part where I'm waking up having to nurse and he's knocked out. Or sometimes feeling the pressure of I'm the mom. I'm supposed to do this, right? And sometimes not giving him the freedom of being able to do exactly what I do, right? I'm telling you, this thing is so complex. And some of the expectations that I had for him, right, going through, I'm like, you see me all day here with the kids, like, can you cook? Can you do something? You know what I mean? Like those expectations not verbalized. And when you internalize that thing, it can literally eat away at your core. And so that's why it's important to open your mouth and express and say, yo, I'm tired. Can you take over? Or yo, I can't cook. Yeah. What can, and just kind of have those conversations without feeling bad about how you feel, because that guilt is serious.
Right. Like an important thing to practice in your marriage are wishes and wants, right? And being able to say, I wish you would do this and how this would make me feel. So I think we had a moment, and Carolyn asked that question, like, what did we do when we got overwhelmed? We had to talk it out. I'm not a talker, so, I just basically did what, we said. I just put on my clothes and go out. But it was something that we had to talk about, and then Carlene understood, because she wouldn't give me a problem about it. Like, she'd be like, where you going? She'll be like, it's okay, I get it. Because, being home with children, especially at that age, is so hard. Like, it's not easy because they can't talk back to you. Like, what is it your pamper? Are you hungry? You don't like the show? And they're just, So it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm going crazy. And somebody else asked a question about how did I pastor and do that at the same time. I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know how.
As a matter of fact, when Caitlin was I was pregnant with Amber, he would take Caitlin to meetings.
Yep.
He would take her to the conference office.
Yep.
Because, he didn't have a choice in that.
Caitlin was my road dog. Caitlin went on visitations with me. Caitlin was everywhere. I had her in the car seat, and me and Caitlin would roll because Caitlin and I were going everywhere together.
Yeah, so it's a struggle all around. It is a struggle. I'm not saying it's not. It's a struggle all around. And as I said, it's trial and error. Some things work. On some days it works. Some days it doesn't work, and you have to start from scratch.
Yeah, and don't judge other people how they parent their kids. Like,
yeah,
yo, how you parent is how you parent. If it works, as long as they not abused, as long as they eating and they alive, let them parent the way they know how to parent. Stay out of it.
Yeah.
Unless they ask for your advice.
Yeah.
Don't be going out giving out, well, you should do that, you should do it. Not mind your business.
Yeah, and even the piece of, I remember reading those books. I'm sure some moms can relate, reading those parenting books, and they were like, do not let your child sleep with you. Do you guys remember that? Don't let your child sleep with you when they are infants, because you want to teach them to sleep in their own beds, because you don't want to have a child in your bed forever. Me, I'm just like, Jamie, we don't need a child in our bed. She's gonna have to sleep in their own bed. Let me tell you something. When you are tired and you don't want to have to get up, go to the other room, take the child, nurse them put them in the rocker, sit there. Listen, the best thing that I decided to do was take them and keep them in the bed with us. Yes, I know CPS probably would have a hissy fit because they don't want you sleeping in bed, because I'm sure some children have either died or got hurt because parents rolled over on them. Listen, I know all of that, but at the same time, there was not a better feeling than just having to nurse the child and that child roll right over and go back to sleep. Like, that was amazing.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted. We did get a time where we kicked them out. I was like, nah, you got to go. This ain't working no more. You too big, first of all, and I don't like your knee in my head.
Right.
Like, I need to go to work. You got to go. So I think that's something else we need to talk about, like getting them out the bed, because that was an experience.
Yeah, that was an experience. But for me, I loved it because it was almost like a safety blanket, right?
I didn't.
Because I knew exactly, if God forbid something happened, they're right there. I don't have to worry about it. But here's the thing.
They always push you off the bed.
That's true. But here's the thing. And as we go back to talking about marriage and parenting, when kids are in the bed, real talk, we're not intimate. I was going to say another word. But we're not as intimate as we want to be, right? Because you have kids wedged in between you.
That's why they need to go.
But real talk, that's when you get creative. Let's be honest. You can get real creative with that joint. You get creative. You're like, yo, meet me in the.
What time? All right.
Meet me in the.
They sleep.
Yeah, they sleeping. Meet me in the bathroom in about. Listen, you get real creative real quick, but
fellas be in there 30 minutes early. Like, where you at, man?
Oh my gosh.
Porn.
But it's definitely real. Parenting is real, but I wouldn't take it back, and I would not have it any other way. Parenting our two little ones.
Yeah.
Because it's fulfilling, it's hard, it's something that's beautiful, and every day is something new, and you just kind of have to roll with it. But one of the things that we wanted to just touch on.
Well, I think we need to do a part 2 though to this, because I don't know if we have enough time. I mean, we're going to touch on what you want to touch about. I don't think we have enough time, because there's some important things that I think that we need to cover too, like the devices, managing that.
Well, I think we can.
It's 4 minutes.
I think we can touch on it. You don't think so?
I don't know, because we have devices, we have dress.
Well, we can leave dress and the other ones. I think we can talk about, if it's okay with you.
I'm okay with it, but I just want to make sure, the folks.
Right. I think they're here.
Okay.
So one of something that I'm super passionate about, and he knows I'm super passionate about this. So 7 is a big number for us. Why is 7 a big number? And I think now it's changed. I think it's actually 8 or 9. So in education, they talk about, I think it's Piaget or one of those philosophers. Basically, we're talking about the formative years, and at the age of 7 is basically where children have pretty much formed who they are, right? A lot of things, morals, and things of that nature are pretty much ingrained in their minds. Not that it won't change, but for the most part, that's when like things come together for them at the age of 7. So just really touching on the eating part, the food part. We we kind of waited until they were 7 to do what? To like eat candy. What else?
Candy, chicken too, right?
Chicken, yes,
yeah, they were
and
raised
chicken because they
vegetarian.
were raised vegetarian. That's what we decided to do. Just because we felt that they would have a lifetime to eat candy, eat chicken, and eat whatever they wanted to do, but just kind of wanted to make sure fill their bodies with the good stuff, the healthy vegetables and all that, fruits and whatever.
That's the good part of it. We played ourselves, so we were on this like we're gonna raise the kids vegetarian, and then we gonna be vegetarian too because we're gonna go all vegetarian. So it got nuts after a while because the girls got older. They like they're 4, they're 5, and mommy and daddy going down on some jerk chicken, all kind of curry chicken, and they just sitting there eating tofu, watching us. And we were just like, we did not go vegetarian. We were just like, you know what? Yo, had a chicken, man. Eat it. And so now our oldest one, she is meat mount, like meat mount to the 100%. Amber, not so much, but she's slowly becoming in that as well.
Yesterday she tore that chicken up.
Yeah, so the whole plan of them becoming vegetarian, us becoming vegetarian, that joint did not work. It was out the door. But they are milk free. They've never had. Well, they've had dairy because they eat ice cream.
Yeah, but they haven't had
like a glass of milk or milk and cereal. We just keep them on almond milk.
So another thing I'm super passionate about are device use. We have kind of had, here's the parenting part. We've had kind of like varying opinions of devices. If I had it my way, real talk, they probably wouldn't be using any devices. Or if they did, it would probably be super minimal, like just a little bit of it. Here's why.
Go ahead.
I'm a believer that boredom is a good thing. When kids are bored, it's actually a fantastic thing. I think a lot of times as a parent, I rob my child of his or their creativity when I decide to, oh, you're bored? All right, let's do this. All right. Where I'm kind of creating for them and not allowing them.
That was very dramatic.
I know. I can be dramatic sometimes. I'm robbing them of that opportunity or that moment for them to be creative. I know it's not something that's super popular. I know that there are parents out there who don't think that at all. And that's okay. That's the thing about parenting. What works for me works for me. What may work for you works for you. But I do think that it is very important to hone in on your child's creativity.
So I'm that parent that used to be, yo, here's the phone. Just go off into phone world. And I understand that the devices, there's no two-way communication with that. And we began to start seeing some of that in our kids, like with them talking to people and how they communicate. Because when you're on a device or whatever, you're not responding back to it. It's just talking to you. So help me understand, Carlene, and probably to our listeners as well. How do devices stifle creativity?
So essentially, they are watching something that has been created, right, for them, and they're no longer creating. Maybe they are. Some kids maybe are. It depends on. Let me just say this first. It depends on your child, right? Your child may be. It depends on how they learn, right? Let's start there, and that's perfectly fine for that kid, for that child who learns in that way where they have to see it happening, and then maybe after that they have an opportunity and they create something, right? But I feel as though when the devices are the primary.
Well, I think it's also maybe you might have to consider what they're watching too, right?
For sure. Of course, if they're watching, I don't know, Natural Geographic or something educational, but even with that, I think there's a balance. Like it just can't just be devices, devices, devices. It has to be a mix of both, something tactile, something that they can create, versus just staring at a screen for hours on end, looking at something that someone has created for them, opposed to them creating for themselves.
Yeah, I think what hit me was with the book Untamed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about the lady was talking about how she went to Silicon Valley, and one of the people who designed the iPad or whatever device, designed it. You know how beautiful the iPad is, right? And what happened? The lady asked. She asked her, "What device does your child have?"
Yes, they asked her. It was the phone. They asked. She asked, "Does so? What phone does your child have?" And she was like, "They don't. They don't have a phone, because they realize, as you know, these people that are creating the devices, they're the ones that are the creators, right? And so they don't want to have. They don't want to stifle. They want their children to also do the creating, just like they've created these devices, these phones. And so I think it just speaks to the part of, it has to be a balance. For us, we only allow them to use their devices on the weekend or watch TV on the weekend, where they have the opportunity to read, to create, to draw, to make up games, to do whatever, during the week. And then on the weekends, we just decided that yes, they can, because we don't want them to be those kids that are like,
Yeah.
like when they don't have something, and when they get it, it's almost like they go ham on it.
Yeah, and Yolanda brought up a good point. Like if you today, right, you have a group of kids that are together, and whether it's Thanksgiving or whatever it is, and they're all together, they all go on devices together. Like they're not. We remember when we were kids, and when we got together, it was like, hey, I want to go play outside, or hey, we're about to go play Skelly, or we're about to play hopscotch, or we're about to do something. Going outside is like a lost art now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Playing in the park, or I remember it was punishment for us growing up. It was punishment if you had to stay inside your house. Now today, it's almost like stay home.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do in the first place.
Right. I don't want to go out.
All right, punishment. Go outside. Go outside
what
and
am
play.
I gonna do? What am I gonna do outside? And when you think about that game, Skelly, it's the cap of a milk bottle.
It's creative.
With Play-Doh or clay or whatever they use,
wax.
the wax.
We would use wax, candle wax.
And you use that, and it's like playing. What is it? It's Skelly is a game like football, right? It's like a.
Yeah, you had to get your top into the box and knock somebody else out. It was a lot of strategy that went into that game. You played manhunt, you played tag, you did all those things. And so right now, it's an interesting, and I think maybe too, it's I would love to see how our kids will parent, like what the world will be like. You know, because we're looking at it through our lens of when we were kids and some of the things that we had to be creative about when we went outside and played. I remember making a basketball hoop out of a garbage can, right? Like shooting a basketball hoop. And those are things that we did for fun. So, but I think like just going back to the original point about stifling the way they play, stifling creativity, and just seeing when they're together, they're all on devices. Like they all find, and if one of them finds a device, forget it. They're all staring at it.
And it's almost like they become zombies, right? That's a part of device usage, that kind of is a no for me. Excess use. Let me say that excessive use, because they're just staring and taking it all in, but there isn't anything verbal. They're not regurgitating what it is that they've watched. questions are not being asked of them. Most of the kids, I won't say most, some kids, you know, they have so much freedom with their devices that they're going onto these apps. They're seeing things that are inappropriate because it's almost like, I mean, let's be real. The internet is like free range. Like YouTube is a free range. You can find just about any and everything. And so I think it's for us, it's just super important that we safeguard our girls. And I know
it's hard though.
You can't protect them and keep them in this bubble, right? Because you want them to be able to know how to do things. You want them to know how to relate to other people. But I think the relating now, it seems as though, yo, what phone do you have? It's, yo, are you playing this game? I'm on this level in Fortnite. I'm on this level in Minecraft. And I'm just like, there's no longer, hey, how you doing? You having a good day? That's the conversation that they're having now. And so it's almost like, before it was, yo, you got that new game on Nintendo? Remember that Nintendo
Super Mario
Brothers, right? That you played once in a while, but now it's like all things device. So go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, it's like Caitlin is, how old is Caitlin? 10? About to be 10. She wants an iPhone X. I'm like, little girl, not even an X, 11 Pro Max. I'm like, little girl, you know when I got my first phone, I was in high school, and it was an OmniPoint, a prepaid phone, right? That's when I first got my first phone, or a beeper, stuff like that. But here's the thing. Caitlin does not want a phone for the use of communicating and talking to other people. It's primarily to go on YouTube, watch videos of other kids being creative. Like, that's what's interesting, right? So I think she's kind of breaking out of that. But she wants to watch other people be creative. So she wants to watch Disney and see the creativity in acting. And she wants to watch some YouTube videos, DIY arts and stuff like that, which is great, which is wonderful. But it's almost like I'd rather watch you be creative than me be creative. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking to her, we're like, you know, I want you to have a phone so you can learn how to talk to people, communicate with people, and use the device for what a phone originally, like the term phone, the definition of phone is completely different from what we knew as a child.
Right.
You know, and so like that's like, and it's interesting to see how our world has completely flipped.
Yes. And this definitely is a topic that's going to spill over into our next episode because it's so complex. It's so complex. It's so, and I know a lot of times I felt guilty for not giving in and giving them a device at a certain time. But I feel as though I would prefer them do the creating than watching something that's been created for them.
Right.
That sucks them in for hours on end and they can't do anything else but just sit and watch this device. So there has to be a balance, right. Just like we talked about with parenting. There has to be a balance where it's not just a focus on device that every time the child cries or every time we're sitting down at a restaurant to eat or every time we're in the car, that the first thing you grab is your device.
Let them struggle. Let them come up with a game. Let them create. So I think what's important is that we're not saying devices are bad. Mm-mm. Absolutely not. I think there are some great advantages. And in this day and age, they need to know how to use a device because that's the future, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we are right now. But some of the other things that I think will be helpful is like what we have been doing to help them with create. So we go to Target. We'll buy some canvas. That's what it's called, canvas, and some paint, and say, hey, knock yourselves out. Paint a picture, whatever it is. And they enjoy it. You know, we let them paint their nails and just find other ways to keep them busy and active. I'm actually, one of the challenges that we have is because we're Seventh-day Adventists, I actually want to get them involved in some sort of sport, organized sport. But everything is on Saturday. So your boy about to go to the Jewish League and be like, yo, I'm a black Jew. Don't hate on me. Take my kids and let them start having some organized sports just to get them outside and get them fresh air because I don't want them to be... we're asking them to do something that adults can't do.
Correct.
And that is fight the addiction of a device.
Correct.
Like I'm asking a 9-year-old not to be addicted to a device. And there are people 40, I'm 41, and older who are addicted to devices. So you have to give some sort of like credence or leeway to that as well, because I mean, you addicted too. What kind of I'm setting the bad example because I'm at the table, got the phone, and so that's something else that we do. We have no phones at the dinner table, so we put it aside because we know that as parents we have to set the example
and model
it for them, because children do what they see. Mm-hmm. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, this conversation definitely is going to spill over into our next one, because I'm telling you guys, I know it's hard.
Mad hard.
I know it's hard. Parenting is hard. It can be hard, but at the same time, I think just creating that balance for them is super important, and giving them opportunities to be creative, and letting them be bored. And Caitlin always used to come to us and say, I'm bored. I'm like, that's a great thing. I'm so glad that you're bored. And I let her sit in that boredom. I let her feel the boredom. And then maybe about a few minutes later, guess what? She is now creating this huge thing. And I'm just like, wow, that's pretty amazing. You would not have done that if I just said, go take a device, go watch TV, or go do whatever. Just allowing your kid to feel and allowing them to struggle is not a bad thing. And you don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel guilty for letting them be bored and letting them be creative, because I think it's beneficial for them when they are able to come out of that boredom and be able to not depend on you as a parent to get them out of that boredom. Then it may be something where they're always depending on someone to create something, or to someone to help them. No, let them understand that they can do it all by themselves. They don't need my help in some things, right? And so,
yep, everyone is born an artist. The struggle is staying one. So let your kids be artists, let them be creative, let children be children. Yeah. Teach them all the things that they're beautiful. Let them go inside. Give them a sense of pride. Is that the words?
Those are not. Is not. Those are not the words. But that.
Let the children. Is it let the children laughter?
Yeah.
That's bad grammar.
I think it is. I don't know.
Somebody please tell us, what is that line?
Let the children laugh.
Laughter.
Sure. I don't know.
Please tell us that is not the word.
I think we can Google it. Look using my phone.
Right. I remember long ago, never to walk in anyone's shadow. Oh, let the children
laugh and play. Is laugh and play? Children's laughter. Yeah. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be.
It's not a period. It's
right.
A comma. Okay.
Thanks, Theo.
Let the children laugh and play.
Oh my gosh, that's even worse. Let the children laugh and play. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
All right.
But yeah, so our next episode, our next show, we're going to talk about, we didn't touch on it today, but we will. As a matter of fact, we're trying to figure out if we should have it on this platform or possibly in like a Zoom call with couples, singles, whoever wants to join as we talk about sex. And just trying to normalize that word in our culture. I think society has normalized it in a sense, but I feel like in our church, especially in the context of marriage, it's very much still a word that you don't use.
Yeah, you say that word in church, like, ooh.
Be like, did he just say? Right.
What? Who said that?
Right.
But they be interested though.
What?
Who said that? Who said that? You said
I mean,
that?
real talk. We're all interested in the topic sex, right? Because if we were to call this "How to Have Sex," listen, we'll probably have so much attention because it's something that we were created sexual beings.
Yep.
So just the word itself. Two things happen. Some people cringe at the word, and some people are like, "Yo." So I think that, we want to know if that's something that you guys would be interested in, and if we were to have a conversation on a Zoom, or would you like to have this conversation on this platform on Facebook Live, as we just get into the nitty gritty of sex and. Not necessarily talking about the origins and like that part of it, but more so talking about the reality of it, right? We let me stop talking.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's gonna be juicy, y'all. Horns.
Let me stop talking. Horns. Because I'm about to say something I'll probably regret, so I'll not say it.
Yeah. Well, look, y'all have been hanging out with us. We've been going over time. There's an hour and 18 minutes, but y'all have been great. So, and then also too, so next week this week tell us, put it in the chat box, even after this episode, if you want us to do it a private conversation or you want us to do it open in front of everybody. I don't really care. I'm good whatsoever way. But also, you see my wife's t-shirt, right?
Oh,
Justice is a marathon. Eye examination, justice now. These are t-shirts that I've designed personally for my nonprofit, Raise Your Voice. And if you are interested in supporting my nonprofit, where we do social justice work, social justice research, and still developing it, and still letting it grow. But it is a registered 501c3. But if you buy the shirts, you can't claim it on your tax return because you're purchasing something. But if you want to donate to it, just go to raiseyourvoice.academy. Or if you're interested in picking up one of the t-shirts, remember, it's still going to a good cause. They're the softest cotton you can sit in. We got tons of different designs, and even I'm doing something for the little girls. But we would love your support, just like how you support the show. So thank you so much for everything.
Yes, we appreciate you guys hanging with us. And we can't wait for our next conversation. Thank you for also contributing your comments and keeping it lively. We really, really appreciate you guys more than you know. And so hopefully, God willing, next week we'll be back at it. And we'll be sharing some more of our parenting advice, as well as maybe talking about sex.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can't be. Let's talk about sex next. Gonna do it crazy like I'm a T-Rex. I got on a tight shirt, so I must flex. Yo, don't get body slammed, son. I do the suplex. You say bad words, you know what that's gonna do? It's gonna make me vex. Sometimes I'm living in Mexico. I'm hungry. I gotta go get Tex-Mex. Again. I'm flowing. I'm out. No doubt. Horns.
You just said Tex-Mex again.
You really laughing? You like really laughing over there? I thought that was dope because they weren't expecting the "it can" after Mex. Mex, it can. I know I can do all things, even be a vegetarian.
I'm sorry.
Yo, you really laughing at
that
me.
Was great. That was great. I think you had like 2 weeks in a row you were just like hitting it hard. I think you just kind of.
Well, that one, I didn't get to prepare really in my mind for that one. I was just like, because I wanted to give the people something, so I just did that for them. That's why I did that.
Okay.
All right. Look, we love you. We out. Hit the like button, hit the heart button. Please share this episode with your friends and your families. And this is Jamie and Carlene signing out. Peace.